Hello and very big welcome to episode 22 of Unemployed to Unstoppable. I think it's safe to say that things aren't quite going as well as expected. Stay tuned, I'll take you through it. Welcome back. So yeah, we'll go through the standard format and go through the results from the previous games. I think when you were last with us, we'd had a 1-1 draw with Swansea on our opening game, which was fairly respectable, although we didn't create too many chances. And then we took an absolute pasting from Ipswich, 4-0, without any reply whatsoever. We took that form on into the FA Cup fourth round away at Huddersfield, and again, we fell 2-1 to that. I mean, we were 1-0 up fairly early on, but we weren't creating enough. We did have a minor bit of change in formation. We stepped away from the long ball direct play, route one, and we managed to pick up a 3-2 win at home against Wolves, which was massive. As you can see on there, we actually got a red card for Stankovic. That was when we were 2-1 up. They got back to 2 each. Unfortunately, Gannon managed to get a goal in injury time to somehow miraculously get us the 3-2 victory. So 3 points on the board, which was very much appreciated from the Millwall fans. We then followed up with a respectable 1-1 draw at West Brom at home. Again, Sarr coming on as a substitute to get the only goal for us when we were behind. So again, not too bad, but overall we weren't creating that much. Again, we got a 1-0 away win at QPR, which again, we've stolen something here. Asafa Horton, one of our young players, brought him on and we started to integrate him into the team. We promoted him from the reserves actually, because he's got that much potential. And he came on and scored the winner in the 98th minute, which was absolutely fantastic. What a game that was. We then played top of the table Burnley away. They absolutely smashed us, but it was only 2-0. We then played Leeds at home. Again, they're a cut above us, I think, in terms of their squad depth. We got another goal for Houghton, which was brilliant. McNamara got a header from a corner, but we fell again to a 4-2 defeat. Again, we've changed it and tweaked it again slightly as we came to the Norwich game. We slipped more into a defensive role, managed to grind out a 2-2 draw. Ghanem and El Ghazi with the goals. And then our last match, very much dull game, 0-0 against Blackpool. So not the greatest of form. It's not flown us up the table. We're still mid-table. I mean, we're 9 points clear of QPR in the relegation zone. So I think we should be alright. It's 10 games to go. There's no way at all we're going to get up in the playoffs. It's far too soon for this squad, because what I would say about this squad in terms of the planner is, I mean, at goalkeeper we've got one, the rest are average at best, although we do have a young high potential player we've promoted to the first team. Again, centre halves, we're looking at 33-year-old, 35-year-old who's retiring, and then we've not got much depth outside of that. So this is looking like an absolutely enormous rebuild. We've got Danny McNamara at fullback, 12.5 to 14 million. He might be someone we might have to cash in on. Not sure yet. Casper Del Nor, another one as well. Left back, again, I mean, you're going to question me because I did sell a left back. But we've got Jonathan Silver there, he's 33. We've got Ken Seamer, he's 34. And the next best one's Damar Graham. So I'm going to have to search through the youth team again to try and find someone for that position. And it's like that largely across the board. We've got a couple of good young prospects in various different positions, but there's quite a lot of players in that elderly age bracket that suggests they will leave in the summer and we'll have to rebuild. So I think the important thing really is to get to the summer, get rid of the players we don't want, either at the end of the contract or sell them where we can. And I'm actively trying to sell players, which I'll show you in the transfers, and then get some new players in. In terms of the players we've managed to get out, so it was already some had gone, but Akamrich, we got away on loan, Forbes on loan, Malachi, who when we first looked at Millwall when we joined, he had a transfer fall through, we've let him go. Beaumont we've let go on loan. Murray Wallace, he's the one I'll let go fairly cheap, up to 35.5, but it was more his wage budget we wanted to get rid of, and he was 35 years old, so although he may have been a first team player, I think it was important to get him away, and we let Balcom go, who was the goalkeeper. So we've recouped some money. However, we are now £43,000 per week over the wage budget. That's largely due to some of the players wanting the renewed contract. I tried to put off renewing the contract, but that just led to the rest of the players saying I was treating them unfairly. So ultimately, I had to give him a contract, and that's put us in a bit of a difficult situation in terms of where we are with the wage budget. We've got to find a way to get that down. There's not really a great deal I can do about it. We've taken over what was pretty poor. We're just going to have to limp our way to the end of the season, take the hit on not meeting within the wage budget target, because it was 25, 26 when we took over. We got it down to 22. We got a bit lower than that, but a couple wage renewals and we are in the trouble. So that's going to be a major drama. In terms of staff, that's the only positive thing really. We have fleshed out the staff massively, so every single position is being filled. As you can see from the coaching side, we're looking quite impressive, especially in the general kind of stats. I just want to point out to you, because our general coaches, if I can find them, we've got Miroslav Klose, who is a German World Cup winner, which is fantastic. We've got Zlatan Ibrahimovic, he's come in as well, and Patrick Kanch. So, I mean, just looking at Ibrahimovic, he's pretty handy, isn't he? We're probably still getting playing, but maybe not. Maybe it's a stretch too far. In terms of the play, we did promote to the starting lineup Asafa Houghton. Again, I think he looks alright. We tend to play him out here on the wing. His stats are pretty good. He's got a lot of potential on him. We need to develop him. He's hit the 18 where your training doesn't work as much as match games go. So I think it's time to blood him in for a few games here and there. He's got a couple goals. He's having a higher average rating than some of our first teamers. So we'll let that continue. In terms of today's episode then, we've got an away game at Derby County, which I don't expect to go very well. And the same could be said for Luton. I think we just got to scramble for points with the squad that we've got. Make sure we get to the end of the season so we have a chance to rebuild it. And then it's a case of probably chopping the aging older players out here and trying to get some new higher prospect players, which we've got some have come from the youth system. So we'll have a mix of what's in the youth system already, bring some new players in, retain a little bit of experience to keep us going, and then hopefully we'll settle on a tactic that's going to give us some massive benefits. So I'll click us through ready for the next game. You come back and join us, and hopefully we can put on a better show than in the first episode in Millwall and get some more points on the board. So stay tuned. Welcome back. So here we go. Starting lineup for the away game at Derby. We've got Sarkic in goals, a back four of Silva, Cooper, Nelson and McNamara. Midfield three of Watson, Del Nor and Mitchell. And in the front three of Essie, Houghton the youngster and Ganem up front. I'm not expecting us to pull up any trees in this game. I mean, he's already on a down now before we started the game because he's coming up against someone bigger. No disrespect to strikers, but 9 times out of 10 your centre half you're up against is going to be bigger than you, so suck it up, Buttercup, and just get on with it. But we'll see how we go. Cautious mentality. We've gone for the tiki-taka as opposed to the direct. Again, we'll have to take the hit on that with the fans who wanting to see direct football, but the direct football wasn't really getting us the results we wanted. We've had a couple of results, some unexpected, got some points on the board. We just need to make sure within these next 10 games, probably four wins, probably be alright. That should keep us clear of the relegation zone, and that will give us the opportunity to rebuild the squad in the summer, which this massively needs. We have got some good players. I don't want to say we're all terrible, but we've got a lot of deadwood on some high wages that we need to turn around and get some useful players in. So playing the ball around at the back at the minute. Nelson on the back four to Mitchell, who's playing that deep role, into Del Nor. He's one of the better players as well, got a new contract. Houghton on the left, who's the youngster. In it went. Unfortunately, Ganem wasn't able to hit the target on that occasion, but positive things, we got a chance just before half-time. So half-time level, I mean, what a massive stadium that is. Again, I'm not too disappointed. I think we can win this if we can stay solid at the back. Just try and counter them a little bit. And as the game goes on, make a couple substitutions just for some fresh legs. I mean, he's on a yellow. We've played a game with a red card this season already. I don't particularly want to finish the game with 10 men. So what we might do is just take Watson off while we've got the chance. Let's give the youngsters some game time, get him a bit of development. I don't think anything else at this stage, and we'll just get them back out there because I think if Watson picked up a second yellow, we went down to 10 men, I think we definitely lose the game. So we need to keep 11 versus 11, try and stay tight, compact and solid as they get a free kick on the 72nd minute, which drifts over the top. 15 minutes to go. Houghton starting to fade a little bit as well, so we'll get him off and get some more experience on the left-hand side. We'll get a Maku on there. Bit of fresh legs, bit more experience. As Derby come in from the side and they miss the target, so let's see if they can take effect. We'll shout a little bit of encouragement. Mitchell looks tired. We'll put Ferrara on. I think Mitchell's too important to take off from there for the last 5 minutes. I don't think it's worth it. Mitchell can mark Donnelly as per the coach instructions. 3 minutes to go. Looks like we grind out a 0-0 away at Derby, and I know it's not a glamour tie. I know it's not full of goals, but them points are vital. A point away at Derby is massive. Brilliant play from the back four. Shut them down, limit them to 1 shot on target. I know we didn't have any, but that point's going to be massively important coming the end of the season. Get us ready for the rebuild. So what looks like a boring 0-0 is actually a positive result for this Millwall side at the current stage, and that just gives us another point. I mean, with 7 points clear, it's tight. We're still going to need to win a couple games, but the next match coming up could be one that we have a chance with. I will click through, get us ready, and we'll see if we can get a 4-pointer. I mean, another point would be good, but what we want to try and avoid is defeat. So stay tuned and I'll be back with hopefully a slightly better performance. Welcome back for the home game against Luton. Luton, who are 3rd in the Championship, so it's going to be a bit of a rocky ride, this one. We're going to stick with the same tactic, same formation, so tiki-taka, but we've stepped up to a balanced approach to try and push a little bit more further forward. Starting lineup then, Sarkic in goals. Very similar back four. We've got Silva, Cooper, Stankovic dropping back from midfield, and McNamara. Then we've got midfield 3 of Zavara, the youngster, Mitchell and Denore. And then we've got Essie, Ghanem and El Ghazi coming in on left-hand side. So letting the youngster rest this time. He's played a lot of football. He's got a couple of goals. I don't want to give him too many games just for the sake of it. We've still got to balance the expectations of the players who are here before we have a dressing room revolt, which they are not nice when they happen. But we're straight into it. Already you can see Chowdhury's playing there. They've got a couple of good players at Luton. Obviously it must be if they're 3rd in the league as the ball goes straight in. Wow, 20 seconds is all it took for Luton to get the lead against us. I mean, that's straight from the kick-off down the right-hand side. It's a very lapsed tracking back. Oh, we should have protected the cross though. Nobody jammed with him. And we find ourselves 1-0 down after 20 seconds. So, I mean, the Ipswich game was a rough ride. Unless we're going to run up the other end of the pitch and score now, this could turn out to be equally as rough against far more prolific opponent. As they get another chance down the left-hand side with just a minute on the clock. In they go again. Nearly 2-0 down within the first minute, which would not have been ideal at all. I think shout a little bit of encouragement to try and get heads up. So we get 9 minutes in the game, let a little bit of stability settle in there. Again, we're not creating anything. There's something tactically, there's something wrong because we're not getting the chance creation that we maybe should be. We'll just let it drift on a little bit. Hopefully, as we get towards half time, I can look at what we can tweak. I don't know if it's the tiki-taka, but we might just go a little bit more direct in the second half. We do have a counter-attacking formation that we've been practicing. I'm not sure we're ready to play it yet, but it is out there. And oh my God. Injured goalkeeper. The curse of FM24. So Evan Anderson, he's the goalkeeper we promoted from the youth team. Again, he's got a lot of potential coming up as the understudy, but it's a bit of a baptism of fire for him. I think while we're here, what we might do is just change a little bit of what we're doing. Go away from the tiki-taka. Let's go a little bit more down the wings and see if that gives us any joy in the second half. So here we go. We haven't had any shots. That is the disappointing thing. You've got to agree with the coach there. If you don't shoot, you don't score. But if we get a little bit of wing play in the second half, maybe towards the last 20 minutes, got a little bit more positive, we might be able to wriggle something out of this game. Luton certainly had the best of the first half. I think we're going to have to go positive. 25 minutes to go. El Ghazi not playing particularly well, so let's get him off. Get Houghton on. See if he can be another little point winner for us. We certainly had a couple more shots in the second half. XG's crept up a little bit. We're not very well possession based. I mean, again, we used to be really massively possession based when we were at Budafok. What we need to do is get the players in who can hold the ball and pass it around short, and try and recreate that with this team. And oh, he spilled the ball. Keep having a bit of a mare, but he's kept it out. And he could hopefully get away with a clean sheet here, but I can't see us going up the other end and getting anything. As the corner's going to come in. Headed clear initially. Goal line technology for what? Well, it's nowhere near the goals. I don't know what they were looking at there. It seemed a bit odd to me, that one. 5 minutes of injury time then. I mean, they've been absolutely on top of us, Luton. We've come away with a 1-0 win, which... I mean, part of me is like, it doesn't matter if you lose 1-0 or 3-0. We haven't had the chances up top, and that's what's killing us. 43. So we're not too bad. 6 points. The difference. Just getting a bit nervy actually. And he's out for 3 weeks. So we're gonna have to do this without the goalkeeper. that's an absolute nightmare. I'll have to see what I can do with that. I mean, we've got a couple of winnable games coming up. I mean, out of them, I think Oxford's winnable, Hull, Preston, Stoke, Huddersfield, and maybe Watford. I mean, yeah, I guess they're all kind of winnable. We just have to get the right tactic and the right players on the day, and hope the teams below us don't do particularly great. So hopefully you've enjoyed the episode. We've had a rough ride since we took over. I think we've only had the 2 victories. We've had 4 draws. And a splattering of defeats in there. We really need to steady the ship now, get to the end of the season and get a chance to bring our own players in. Hopefully we'll get the chance to do that, because I think, like we saw with Budafok, once we get a chance to rebuild, and it might take a couple of seasons to swap these players around, but once we get the ones in that do what we want them to do, we can turn this around and get up the other end of the table. So once again, thanks for watching. Let me know how you think it's going. I mean, I personally, it's a bit of a nightmare at the minute, for want of a better phrase. But I genuinely believe come the summer we'll be able to turn this around and do something special. So I'll come back probably just for the last game of the season, maybe 2 if we're up for relegation. But I'll probably just do the Coventry game and the end of season review, and then the episode after that we can get into the rebuild, because that's going to be the more important part of it. So until I see you again, take care and enjoy your weekend.